Welcome back to B2B Growth. I'm Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. Today, I'm joined by Matt Reid. He is the Chief Marketing Officer over at Easy Texting. Matt, welcome to the show. How's it going today, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Matt, we're going to be talking about a digital channel that's probably only increasing in importance for B2B marketers today, and that's texting. It's the platform that you guys specialize in over at Easy Texting. We're going to be talking about, why you should be looking at using this channel in B2B marketing and some do's and don'ts. If you are exploring this new channel, this new medium for your brand, what are some things that you should avoid doing, some of the common pitfalls, and some of the things you want to keep in mind as you do approach a new channel to engage with your prospects and your customers. Matt, for a little bit of context, why you're the guy talking about this today, give us a little bit of background on yourself and what you and the Easy Texting team are up to these days.
Sure. So I'm Matt Reid. I'm CMO at Easy Texting. I've been with the company for about a year and a half. My background for the past decade or so has certainly been within the marketing realm, running marketing programs for some companies I'm sure that you've heard of, and super excited to take the opportunity here at Easy Texting. Obviously, we're all texting every day, and it's not something that's going away. And so to be able to provide that channel to businesses and see the ROI they get from texting it's a pretty amazing opportunity for us to be in this growth market.
Yeah, I love it. James and I were just doing an episode the other day about turning prospects and customers into friends. And top of my list was moving conversations to texting in a one-to-one basis. But there are a lot of things that I think we're going to talk about here in the why B2B marketers should be thinking about this channel that were applicable in our conversation about one-to-one texting as much as engaging your community in general in more of a mass approach. So Matt, we're going to be talking a little bit about the how, as we always try to do on the show. But let's kick it off with a little bit of the why. What are some of the trends you guys are seeing in texting as a platform and specifically as it applies to B2B marketers?
Sure. So I'm not sure I have to get into the use really of texting in our everyday lives. All of us are texting our friends and family and some businesses, although about half of us try to text a business and are unable to do so. There's no reply. And so for the consumer world, obviously texting is prevalent. For the business world, it's somewhat of a new concept to be able to incorporate text marketing into dedicated campaigns or integrating them into some campaign in order to really mobilize an action. And so we're seeing that in a lot of the activities that our customers are doing across a variety of different verticals. The great thing about texting is that it isn't specific to any type of use case or vertical. We see retail, schools, government, education, real estate, churches doing everything from promotions, notifications, alerts. We see many of our customers text enabling their landline so that consumers, when they text in, they can provide support and or use that landline phone number that's traditionally been obviously for phone calls as a lead source to them. So some of the things that we're seeing our customers do with regard to how to incorporate texting, because it is somewhat of a new concept, is to ensure that you only have so many characters in a text message. So you want to be super clear, succinct with what you're trying to get across, and also make it very actionable. So a lot of our businesses want to make sure that consumers aren't inundated with unnecessary text messages.
Yeah, that succinct thing, I imagine it cannot be overstated as you guys are consulting with your customers. It's almost like you got to get them in this frame of mind of, would you text this to a friend? Not necessarily in the content, because it's going to be a different direction, but how can you keep this as succinct as something that you would type out with your thumbs and some of the advice that you're giving folks there, right?
Absolutely. And I guess the pro and the con of text messaging is that yes, it's an amazing platform that has extremely high engagement rates. We're talking like 98% engagement rates.
Right.
Unheard of in any other channel within marketing. You just don't get that kind of response. But you've got to be very careful. You cannot overuse the channel. Remember that people are opting in to hear you. They're opting into your promotions. They're opting into your alerts and notifications. And so therefore, it's quite the relationship that you built with someone's direct personal device. And you've got to be careful because now it's an extremely trusted relationship. And so you can't overdo it. They've asked for your information. Be succinct, be actionable. Don't give people fluff they don't need or want.
I love that. So, talking about being careful with this channel in it, not wanting to violate that trust that you've been given in a very, what I would call intimate medium of texting, right? Because usually it's you're texting your mom, your spouse, your friends, maybe your kids, depending on what age they are.
Right.
One of the areas you do want to keep in mind is compliance here. Tell us a little bit about some of the things maybe B2B marketers who are listening to this have not explored texting for their brand, and they don't even know necessarily where to start thinking about compliance here, as we've all been, looking at compliance readily when it comes to email over the last year plus.
Yeah, it's a super important concept within the text marketing arena, and that is that if you deploy a text marketing campaign, you don't all of a sudden get to start texting all of the contacts in your email database. As an example, this is an opt-in service. We've got to be 100% compliant. We're connected with all of the major carriers in the US and Canada to ensure that we're 100% spam free. And as a marketer, you have to create that opt-in list. And there's a variety of ways to do it, of course, and we support all those ways. But we are pretty diligent about ensuring that as a business, you're texting individuals because of that relationship is so important and so trusted that the opt-in list you're creating is valid. And so we oftentimes want to ensure that any lists that are uploaded to our system are 100% compliant before that first initial message goes out to those consumers.
Yeah, I can't applaud that effort and that stance from you guys enough. You mentioned there, Matt, a variety of different ways to create your opt-in list, to create the opportunity for that opt-in. I imagine, in working with a lot of brands that you guys do, you see them using a lot of strategies for that opt-in. Can you give us some clues as to some of the best strategies for creating a compliant opt-in list, but creating one that is a fairly frictionless process for the folks that would want to opt in? Any advice there for folks in making that a compliant but a friction-free process to ensure you start off with as many people as you can as you go for this channel and people that actually do want to hear from you?
Sure. One of the things our businesses are really using is keywords and the ability to have specific programs or campaigns or promotions tied to a text marketing keyword, and therefore providing a service and a value add to those that do text the business. And so they are able to set up specific keywords, and users can text in to those keywords and get a special deal, notification, communication type from specifically using that keyword to a business. It's a great way to build an opt-in list. A lot of our businesses as well are very familiar with Call Us, right? There's Call Us, and they have the phone number across, billboards, trucks, website, all of their channels. And what they're now doing is just changing the Call Us to Call Us or Text Us. And with our text to landline service that we provide, that phone number now becomes a phone capable, obviously, as well as text capable. And so it's a way to build in a great opt-in list so that now you can communicate with your users across any mobile device.
I love that. So, I mean, I kind of pull two pieces of advice from what you just said there, Matt. Any place, and so let's say you're a B2B SaaS company in that contact us section on your website where you have phone numbers, maybe just having a call to action there, like a B2C brand would have on our billboard, change that and have some sort of call out that says text us. And then number two, what I heard you saying is give them some sort of additional reason, some sort of exclusive benefit to engaging with you on text that they wouldn't get otherwise. So make it easy, show them that, hey, we're making it easy for you to text us, but there's also some additional benefit, some sort of value add. I like both of those two pieces of advice, Matt. As you and I were talking a little bit offline, Matt, you mentioned B2B brands that are using texting successfully. They're doing two things. They're doing text-only campaigns. They're building those and engaging folks in a text-only campaign. It's exclusively through this channel. And then others or the same brands at different times are incorporating texting as part part of a multi-channel campaign. Can you give us some context onto where you guys are recommending, hey, here's maybe where you should think about a text-only campaign, and we can talk about maybe some do's and don'ts there. And then here's why you would want to think about a multi-channel campaign. Let's talk about text-only. Give us some examples of when and how you would want to do this and choose to go that route with engaging your prospects and customers on this texting channel.
Yeah, sure. So a pretty simple example for text-only campaigns, a lot of special deals or offers or promotions to goods and services. You can only get them through signing up to an opt-in text marketing list from that business. That's very common that we see. Whereas, hey, if you sign up for our text offer, you'll get 15% off anything else. You'll get 2 for 1. We see that quite often in order for those businesses to actually build up the opt-in list and provide text-only communication to those consumers that want to have a relationship with that business. So we see that quite often. On the other side, as a marketer, we've got 20, 30 channels at our disposal, and many of them work for their purpose. We're not advocating remove other channels in many cases. What we're saying is leverage texting as part of an overall marketing strategy. So when you're doing things like email campaigns or social campaigns or direct mail, as an example, you can create keywords and use those keywords and leverage them across other channels. We have many of our businesses doing print, as an example, and putting text us, blank to 858585 on the actual box or printed material, and to build potentially a loyalty program, as an example, through text, but they're using other channels as the kind of the primary channel in order to interact with that consumer.
I love those examples, man. It kind of echoes something we've been thinking about here at Sweetfish. One of the things that kind of is always a little bit frustrating for us is that, podcasting can be a very intimate medium. People spend a lot of time listening to the host of your show, but it's not easy oftentimes for it to be super interactive, to send back a question or thought. And so a lot of our customers will set up an email address, podcast at whatever their domain is, and engage with us that way, offer up potential guests. It's something we've been thinking about. How could we maybe incorporate texting with, asking a question or asking for feedback, those sorts of things. So I see it even in just, another digital channel like podcasting. I know it's fairly meta to bring it up right now in the middle of a podcast, but it's something we're thinking about as well. What other advice for B2B marketers do you have here in thinking about, here's maybe why we should go text only with a campaign, or maybe how we should do a multi-channel campaign and tying those two together? I think the print example was a really good one. For what it's worth, I'm offering up connecting podcasting and texting there too. Any other cool examples you've seen from your customer base lately, Matt?
Yeah, and I know we didn't talk about this before. So, in fact, some of our businesses that actually do radio campaigns or podcast campaigns leverage our platform as the main call to action. So they basically say, they have a radio or podcast, and they say text X to this number to get either material, more information about our podcast, more information about the speaker. And so it's actually pretty common to leverage text marketing as a call to action for radio, for what it's worth. There's some other interesting use cases around this. We see a lot of real estate using text marketing. Obviously, there's a lot of signage in real estate. And now that many of the listings, the MLS is online, people can go there and they want to be able to text or call real estate agents and businesses. And so we see a lot of use around signage. When a house is for sale, they want to be able to text a number and get access to that real estate agent or business, a real estate business, wherever they are, whenever they are. So we see a lot of that. The other piece around this is that texting is not going away. It's a extremely powerful medium. You have a direct connection with a consumer that's very powerful in that everybody checks their phone hundreds of times per day. And in general, there are 0 text messages unread before people go to sleep. And so with that kind of communication and power that you have, it's something that we as marketers cannot ignore. We have to leverage text marketing in a way that is useful to our consumers, compliant, but also drives value add to them and frankly to your business as well.
I love it, Matt. As a great way to round out the conversation. Some of the advice that I picked up from you today, I want to just recap for listeners a little bit. If you are trying to drive people to texting, one, make sure you're going through the proper compliant procedures to create that opt-in list. Make it easy for folks. Any place you have a call to action to call or to email now, test that out and maybe test the conversion rates. How much were we getting through when it was a click through to this landing page or to an email us button versus text, and other digital channels or offline channels, podcasting or direct mail. Maybe try texting as a call to action there and see where your response rates go. And obviously, rounding it out with, hey, the open rate on on texting is just ridiculous when you compare it to email and other engagement rates on other channels. So definitely something we want to be thinking about. Matt, appreciate what you guys are doing in supporting folks right now who are in dire need of pushing out communications and alerts and those sorts of things, outside of the B2B space. So just appreciate that. Matt, if there's anything that folks listening to this would like to go further on, ask you a follow-up question, learn more about you and your team at Easy Texting, or just stay connected with you to follow along with some of your content, what's the best way for them to take those next steps?
Yeah, first off, thanks very much for having me. Certainly anyone can visit the website. It's the letter E, the letter Z, texting.com. So easytexting.com. You'll find my profile, LinkedIn information out there as well. And my email address is matt@easytexting. Feel free to send me an email if you'd like to connect. We provide a free trial for all users. So certainly you can test to see if it's going to be appropriate for your business or not at any time for free.
Absolutely. Matt, thank you so much for being a phenomenal guest on the show. I hope listeners took some value from this. I know I did as I was taking notes on some of these ideas about incorporating texting. Really appreciate you being a great guest today.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Hey everybody, Logan with Sweetfish here. If you're a regular listener of B2B Growth, you know that I'm one of the co-hosts of this show, but you may not know that I also head up the sales team here at Sweetfish. So for those of you in sales or sales ops, I wanted to take a second to share something that's made us insanely more efficient lately. Our team has been using LeadIQ for the past few months, and what used to take us 4 hours gathering contact data now takes us only 1. We're 75% more efficient, we're able to move faster with outbound prospecting, and organizing our campaigns is so much easier than before. I'd highly suggest you guys check out LeadIQ as well. You can check them out at leadiq.com. That's LEADIQ.com.